Welcome back to Hardball. The latest MSNBC McClatchy poll showed John Edwards in a close third in Iowa, a more distant third in both New Hampshire and South Carolina. Today, John Edwards kicks off what he calls his Main Street Express tour, and he joins us now from Iowa. How is Main Street different than straight talk, Senator?
I don't know, Chris. I'm not sure it is that different.
Well, you make up these names. I just wanted to have any significance, that's all.
Well, I think in this case, we all know, and you know very well from spending time in Iowa, you do an awful lot of campaigning on small-town main streets in Iowa, and I think that's what it means.
When I was out there 8 years ago, Senator, you gave the best speech. There's no doubt about it, and everybody's a reporter knows you gave the best speeches. You had the room going and rocking and rolling. And this time around, the camera seems to have shifted to Barack and Oprah, and to some lesser extent to Hillary. Is it hard to keep the spotlight on you, even though you give the best speeches?
No, I don't think so, Chris. Not in Iowa. I mean, the people here are paying very close attention. I think a lot of these caucus goers hadn't decided who they're going to caucus for yet. And I think you're describing it correctly. I think we're pretty much in a dead heat here. And somebody will emerge with a lot of momentum. And the things I'm talking about, which are bringing real change to the country and making sure everybody gets a chance, is, I think, the kind of things they respond to.
You know, you've got Kevin Bacon and Tim Robbins. I like them both as actors. In fact, I really like both of them. They're fabulous actors, but they don't have the star quality of Oprah, do they?
I don't know. Chris, I'm the one with the star power, not these actors.
Oh, you don't need these show business people. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's great to have them. I love having my supporters. I'm sure Barack loves having Oprah. But I think at the end of the day, mostly what they do, and I heard a little bit of your previous segment, is they get people there, and then we have to make the case for why they should caucus for us or vote for us. I think that's the bottom line.
Let me ask you about the general. I look at the generic. You know what the term generic means. You're an expert at politics as well as being a public figure. You know that when they ask people, are you going to vote for the Democrat or the Republican next year, the answer is generally about, the latest one is incredible. It's 50 say Democrat and only 35% say Republican. However, when you put Hillary's name up or the other guy's name or Barack's name up against a known Republican name like Rudy Giuliani, Giuliani wins. And I'm just going to ask you, have you got a better shot at being the generic Democrat than either Oprah or Hillary? I'm not Oprah, but that's the trouble this weekend. Barack or Hillary? Have you got a better shot at being the generic Democrat?
Now we know who you were focused on between Barack and Oprah.
I know. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Here's what I know. You left out the important statistic, which is I beat Giuliani and I think all the Republicans in the national polls, and I think I'm the strongest general election candidate, and I think most of the empirical data supports that.
How do you prove it? You got a month.
Yeah, good point. Well, I think I got to make the case that the things I'm for, what I want to do to change Washington, what I want to do to strengthen health care, end global warming, et cetera, the things I care about are things that will work everywhere in the country, that I'm the candidate who's won in a red state, that grew up in rural America, and you know, at the end of the day, the last two Democrats who were elected President of the United States, they talk like this, Chris, and I think that's a pretty good case to make here in Iowa.
You mean they're Southerners?
What do you think I mean?
I don't know. You're optimistic. You're in a great mood. That's all I can tell you. You know, here's a theory some people have. I heard this from one of the top people with Barack, that Hillary Clinton's getting very personal attacking Barack, but knowing the history of Iowa, she knows that's going to hurt her. But she's willing to do it, even to look dirty and tough, because that's the only way to bring him down. And it's more important for her to bring him down and let you win in Iowa and sneak past both of them. It's still better for her to have you survive Iowa if it'll bring down. If she has to play suicide bomber, she's willing to do it to make sure Barack doesn't win out there that you do. She'd rather face you down the road than Barack. That's the theory. And that's why you've been nice lately and Hillary's getting tougher.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, if anybody in their campaigns is doing that kind of calculation that far out, all they're going to do is shoot themselves in the foot. We have a real battle in the trenches going on right here in Iowa, and then we're going to go to New Hampshire to the next battle, then to Nevada, then to South Carolina, and somebody's going to emerge. Somebody's going to have huge momentum going into February the 5th, and all I can say is I know these people in Iowa, they know me, they trust me, and I feel good about my chances here.
How do you have the edge? Because you're going to have the edge because you're down in numbers. How do you get your people to show up at those Thursday night caucuses in higher percentage numbers than the other people's?
Well, Chris, the one thing that we know how to do is organize in Iowa. I have terrific people on the ground here. We have precinct captains all over the state. We have county chairs. We have rural county chairs. And we have people who are true believers. I mean, they believe in not just me, but they believe in what we need to do to change the country. And they'll be there on caucus night. The people who come to my events in Iowa, those people are caucus goers. I don't have to guess about what percentage are going to show up, et cetera. These are people who truly believe in me and what I'm trying to do for the country. And they'll be there on a cold January 3rd night. You know, the others, I guess, have to answer that question for themselves.
Yeah, there is an argument that you've got the labor people, the tougher people that are used to a rough and tough life more than the elite, and that the rougher people, the tougher people, the labor people are less intimidated. They're willing to walk into a room because they've had to walk into rooms all their life to get jobs, and they're going to be willing to walk in those rooms in a way that maybe some of the more intellectuals may not be able to handle, which is to walk where you're not welcome, walk where you're not used to being, where your comfort zone is behind you, and walk in that room and say, I'm here for John Edwards, that you might have that kind of person.
Yeah, I can tell you the people that are for me are fearless. They're not afraid of anything. They will be there on January 3rd. They will stand up. They'll stand up proudly. And I like my chances, Chris.
Well, we all like you. John Edwards, thank you, sir. And how's Elizabeth doing?
She's doing great. Thank you for asking.